In lessons 2.3 and 2.4, you learn how to solve various linear equations. In this particular equation, we want to figure out what x is. This is 3/4 times what number equals 5/3. So we have to get rid of 3/4, which is the coefficient of x. Normally, we undo multiplication with division, but we can't divide fractions. So we multiply both sides of the equation by the reciprocal. So then this is 1x, which is what we want, equals 5 times 4 is 20, 3 times 3 is 9. And leave your answer as an improper fraction. In the next problem, there is more than one way to solve this. The first thing that I'm going to do is notice that I have the same denominator here. So as long as you have the same denominator, you can add or subtract fractions. So I'm going to do that right here. 5n minus 3n would be 2n all over the denominator of 2. But 2 divided by 2 is 1. So I just have n plus 4/5 equals 7/5 minus 1/10. So here is where I can do one of two things. I can either get a common denominator here and get this to be 1 fraction, or I can go ahead and subtract the 4/5 because here's my equal sign. I'm trying to get n by itself. I need to do the opposite of adding, which is subtracting. And so I subtract 4/5 from both sides of the equal sign. So on the left side of the equal sign, I have n. Okay, I'm just going to draw this so you can see the different sides of the equation. So this is my left side. I have nothing left but n. And then 7 take away 4 is 3/5. And I want to take away 1/10. So here's where we need a common denominator. We can make this into 10 by multiplying by 2. So multiply the top and the bottom by 2. That would be 6/10. So I have 6/10 minus 1/10, which is 5/10. But 5/10 can be put into lowest terms. 5/10 is equal to 1/2. So my answer for n for this equation is 1/2, because this is 5/10, which is the same as 1 out of 2. Our next equation, we've got some decimals. Negative 5x plus 2.9 equals 3.5. I'm trying to get x by itself. So I want to subtract 2.9 from both sides of the equation. So always do the opposite operation. The opposite of adding is subtracting. 3.5 minus 2.9 is 0.6 or 6/10. Then at this step, we want to cancel the multiplication here by dividing by negative 5. So this cancels to 1. 1x equals, and a positive divided by a negative is a negative, and you can do this in your calculator. 0.6 divided by 5 is 0.12. So the answer is negative 12/100. In this next problem, I'm going to demonstrate a method where you clear the fraction by finding the least common denominator. One way to find the least common denominator is to take the biggest number, which is 10, and start listing the multiples of 10, like 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and so on. But you can stop as soon as you get to a number that is divisible by all of the other numbers. So 10, 20, 20 is not divisible by 8, 30 is not divisible by 8, but 40 is divisible by 8 and 4 and 2. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clear all of my fractions by multiplying every single term by the least common denominator. Okay, so this is an equation. That's why I can do this, because whatever you do on the left side of the equation, you do the same thing on the right side of the equation. And what I did was multiply by 40. But anytime I multiply, I have to be fair and distribute it to all my terms. So now 40 times 5 divided by 8 is going to be 25x. 40 times 1 divided by 4 is 10x. 40 divided by 2 is 20. And 3 times 40 divided by 10 is 12. Then I need to collect my like terms on the same side of the equation. So 25x take away 10x is 15x plus 20 equals 12. To get the x by itself, I need to first get all of my numbers to this side. So I have to remove 20. Whatever I do on one side of the equation, I do the same thing on the other. So I get 15x, I'm trying to get that x all alone, equals negative 8. And the last step is always divide by the coefficient. So divide by 15. So x is equal to negative 8/15. And my last problem is very similar. This time I want to clear my fraction, and I notice my biggest number, 28, can divide by 7, and it can also divide by 2, and it can divide by 4. So that's my LCD. So I'm going to clear the fraction by multiplying each and every term by the LCD, 28. So 28 divided by 7, that's 4y. Then this cancels this, and that's just y. Then 28 divided by 2 is 14. 28 times 3 divided by 4 is 21. Collect your like terms, so 4y plus another y is a total of 5y plus 14 equals 21. Then I have to get all my numbers onto this side because my variable is here. So I'm going to minus the 14, like this. 5y is equal to 7. 21 minus 14 is 7. And the last step is always divide by the coefficient. So you can leave your answer as an improper fraction. In fact, you will not want to put it as a decimal because the original problem was given in fractions, so the answer should be either a fraction or an integer if the fraction ends up simplifying. So 7/5.